good afternoon, good night, and good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Ty and Cody on Purpose show.
The reboot.
As she always says. I was not expecting her to say that. The reboot, exactly. I guess we have to put that in our title or put that in our somewhere along there so that way people know it's the reboot because you like to call it the reboot.
It's not the podcast or the radio show.
Well, it is. Well, technically, you're right. It is not. It's not the radio show. So, yeah, this is, I guess, the reboot, as she says. So, in the reboot, we do things completely different. If this is your first time watching, welcome. We appreciate you tuning in with us here on Relationship Entertainment Television. I even got my RETV shirt on today to support the network. Oh, I didn't realize she had hers on, too. That's pretty dope.
I've had it on all day.
I know, but I'm just saying, now you're making me look like I ain't been paying you no attention all day. And you know that's not the truth. Because if, you know what, never mind, I'm not going to say it because we're on air. Even though this show is unfiltered, raw, and uncut, everything goes. But, okay, fine. Since it is,
then, don't embarrass me. What do you want
I'm not going to embarrass you.
Okay.
But I'm going to say, you ever noticed, and I'm talking to you people out there in audience land, how you see women walk past in the mall or outside or whatever, and they have on tights and their tights are see-through? Yeah, she has on see-through tights. That's how I know that I pay you attention.
That's looking at the bottom half of
me,
not the top half.
Not necessarily. I look at all of you. And I just so happened to have seen earlier as you was walking past me, I was sitting there doing something. I was like, wait a minute. Is that what I think I see?
And they're not see-through. They're black.
Okay, but they're black and then, they're see-through because I was able to see right through them. Or whatever you want to call them. Yes, they're black. But, you know, I guess the thread count isn't as of quality or high or whatever.
So what you trying to say?
That, hey, wear them to bed tonight. That's what I'm trying to say. Wear them to bed tonight, and then we will see what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So, actually, this is actually funny topic because this whole show is probably about sex because we have a phenomenal interview. Yeah, because based on the interview we had earlier or later on in the show,
that's true.
The whole show is pretty much about sex.
But I like that interview. It was good.
I like the interview too. It was very different. We have not had an interview about like that, and I know sometimes we shy away from certain topics for whatever reason, and I don't know if it's intentional or not. But then again, we do this thing we call a game, conversational starters or whatever. However, we still have not come up with a terminology name for this segment of the show.
You know what we should do? We should have a contest.
Okay.
And have the audience submit several suggestions, and then we host a raffle or some type of really cool game in order to determine what the name should be. Dope suggestion.
Yeah. So y'all have to let us know what we should call this particular segment where we draw cards from the card deck and we ask one another what it is that's on the card. However, today we're doing things a little bit different because of the person who we actually have on, which I'm excited for you all to see this interview because it was hilarious for starters.
Yes.
And then again, we talked about sex, which is one of my favorite subjects.
Yes.
And it was just a dope conversation. But so the actual interview, they have an app. I don't know where I'm getting to, but they have an app. And in their app, they actually have conversation starters, which is pretty dope, especially once you actually get to some of the conversation starters. We have not actually played or used their conversation starters as of yet. We've actually used their app, and you'll see later on in the interview how we talk about, we use it for the calendar, we use it for reminders of intimacy, we use it for reminders of doing, you know, special things for one another.
Challenges.
Yeah, challenges and so on and so forth. And when I say challenges, sometimes it truly is a challenge, but sometimes you just be like, you know what, I'm not in the mood, but it'd be like, oh, remind to show your love and affection. Reminder, show your love and affection to Nicole. And it's like, oh, okay, no problem. I got that all day long. Her, on the other hand, like she says, I've gotten on her nerves that day, and she has to, begrudgingly show me some sort.
It's not begrudgingly.
Okay, reluctantly show some form of affection or love or appreciation for this guy here. I always love showing her love and appreciation and affection.
Showing you love as well.
When I don't get on her nerves. So yes, in the app, there's conversational starters or conversation starters. I don't know why I keep saying conversational, because this is conversation. But we're conversation starters. That we're gonna do something different today. So we're not going to draw.
Say conversate starter.
Converse.
That's
Yeah,
not
conversate. Exactly. So we're going to take a break from these cards today, even though she thinks I rigged them anyway. And this way you have no choice because there's nothing rigged, because we're going to do the random option in questions. So who wants to go first?
I think I want to ask my question first.
Then I shall put my phone down.
So audience, just so you know, by selecting a random question, the question can come from several different categories. And the categories are romance, intimacy, family, finances, spiritual, and miscellaneous.
Oh, okay. So similar to the cards that we usually draw. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So let's see.
I'm nervous.
We're going to press this random button to see what question we get. Let it be good.
You pressed the random button. So read the question, homie.
This category is family, which I think is one of your favorite categories.
Intimacy is my favorite category, but
I
family.
said one of.
Oh, okay.
What character trait do you want to pass on to our kids or grandkids? That's a safe question. I wanted a juicy question for you.
Well, hopefully I'll get a juicy question.
I hope you get.
I'm going to hit the random button just like you did. And who knows what I'm going to get. But what character traits? Interesting. Because I actually, when I think about me as a parent, not a grandparent yet, and hopefully won't be a grandparent for some years down the line, at least 10 down the line. But yeah, I mean, so there are a few things that I pretty much live by as myself. I always live by being a person of my word. So if I say I'm going to do something, then I try my best to do it. And if I can't do it for whatever reason, then I try to let people know, hey, unfortunately, I can't do it because of X, Y, and Z. So that's definitely one character trait, always being a person of your word.
Which is one of the things I love about you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, I believe that's important, whether not just specifically for males, but for females as well. We have a daughter, and I think it's important, for her, as well as our sons, to be, people of their words. If you're going to say you're going to do something, then live your best to, try your best to do that. If you can't, then own up to it and say, unfortunately, I can't do this for whatever reason, X, Y, and Z, and so on and so forth. That would probably be at the top of my list. Okay. Next, after that, would probably be, well, I'm a very observant person.
Obviously, you saw my pants this morning.
But my kids have started to pick up on, our kids have started to pick up on that. Our son, our youngest son, he's always been observant. Now he's gotten quiet, but he's always been observant. He'll notice stuff, even when you don't think he notices stuff. But I even noticed that our daughter, she picks up on, she's now observant. She's actually seeing things. I'm the type of person where if I go somewhere, and maybe it's just a man trait though. I don't like my back to the door because I always like to know what's going on, who's coming in, those type of things, just in case I got to get up and run, or I got to let people know, hey, this is about to happen. Right. This is about to go down. Y'all get down, or whatever, X, Y, and Z. I just like to be the person with, my eyes to the door or to the window instead of my back to the door or to the window. And I've noticed that our kids, pick up on that as well. And if I'm not, then our kids or whoever's with us has to say, you know what, Dad, I got your back. Don't worry about it. Right. I see what's going on, and I'll be on the lookout for you. Not that I'm on a run for anything, but it's just being observant. And so I think that's another character trait, being observant.
But to that point, when we went out to dinner on Saturday, and I know you noticed this, but you and I were sitting to our backs to the door, and the other two were sitting where they could face the door. And I know our daughter specifically grabbed that seat because she intentionally didn't want to sit with her back to the door. So yeah, she picked that up from you.
Exactly. Because you have to be aware of your surroundings, because you never know what's going to pop off.
This is true.
And this one over here is never aware of her surroundings. Something can literally happen right next to her or right in front of her, and she's like, "Oh, what happened? Did I miss something?" And it's like, yes. Did you just not see that flying pig go right across your face, sit there, wave at you, and then move on? It was like, oh no, I really didn't see that. I was actually looking at.
But you have to admit, I'm very observant when it comes to numbers.
Yes, when it comes to numbers, you are. So she gave you the list of all the topics that happened, and I told you mine is intimacy. Yeah, hers is finance.
It sure
so
is.
If we just happen to get a finance question, I'm choosing another daggone question.
No, you cannot. You can't. You have to ask the question that pops up on your phone the first time.
But okay, so I will ask the question that pops up on my phone the first time. But no, I mean, so those are probably the top two character traits: honesty, being trustworthy. What else? All of those things that make you productive citizens of the world and of your community, and give yourself as well as your family, meaning your kids, your parents, and so forth, the good name that you've been given. Because our name is pretty much all we have, to a certain degree. If you go broke, what you still got? You got your name. If you become, you gain weight or you lose weight, you still got your name. And so that's why I even tell our kids, don't let people call you out of your name. Or if people do mess up your name, correct them. Don't let them sit there and call you, because trust me. Oh gosh, yes, that is an annoying thing. So for those of you who know my full name, which is Tyron, people have screwed that up. They've called me Terrell, Tyron, Tyrene, Tyrone, and I'm like, no, it's Tyron. I've even had people try to tell me how to pronounce my own name, and I'm like, no, I know what my name is. I know what my mama named me, or my sister, should I say, named me. Y'all just give me my name. Don't let somebody jack up your name. So yeah, I think, all of those traits and qualities and characteristics that make up, a person to be who they are, I think are uber important for, us and our kids to know. And I try to be very intentional. And speaking of which, I guess that's another one, being intentional, the characteristic of, just being intentional, living on purpose. Yeah. Because, you can let life happen, but what fun is that? Just letting stuff happen and you just going, oh, I hate this phrase. Oh my gosh. It is what it is. What the hell does that mean? It is what it is.
Let's not talk about your phrases that.
Yes, all right, so I have several phrases. I'm not going to go through them, but yes, like, what's that got to do with the price of tea in China? That's the one that she hates the most. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China?
Because she never. How much tea costs in China?
No, I don't, but I can Google it. But she has never heard of this phrase before. So when I said it for the first time, she was like, what? What does that have to do with the price? Basically meaning, what does that have to do with anything?
So why not just say that?
Because what does that have to do with the price of tea in China sounds so much better. It just does.
Says who?
Says me and everybody else who uses that phrase. But so, yeah. So there are certain phrases that I use. And, yeah. I don't even remember where I was going with that. Because once again, you have thrown me off. So, yeah. We're going to just move on to the question that I have for her, which I got to draw. Conversation starters.
Bring it on, bring it on.
Romance, intimacy, family, finance, spiritual, and miscellaneous. Let's see what
Come on, miscellaneous.
Ha ha ha! Intimacy. You think I'm lying? It says intimacy. It says intimacy. I just randomly pressed the random button and intimacy happened. See, I told you, you was gonna get the, don't be starting to cut. You want to grab you something to drink? You got a cup right there. And yes, for those who saw, my cup does say dad because we label our cups around this house.
Mine used to say mom, but I got a fresh cup.
Oh, I thought you washed it off or something. I don't know. Intimacy is the topic of the question. And this is very interesting. All right. So, what's pet peeve of hers? Misspelled words. Or phrases that don't make sense. What are some of your favorite foreplay activities? I don't know if we should answer this when they're here on the show today, because we may have to cut this short. I can't even get it. See, I told y'all I get tongue-tied when we talk about intimacy because I start getting excited. We have to cut the show short because we may have to go get intimate on these intimacy questions. I cannot talk. I'm talking about people in there writing. I can't even talk. What are some of your favorite foreplay activities? That's what we're going to say today. Yeah.
Favorite foreplay activities would include... Well, first, can we just start with the ambiance? Like, I love it when
you call me Big Papa. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just to have it. Some stuff comes on, and it's just...
When music is playing, no TV... The lights are dim or completely dark. Not light bright.
I like to see what's going on. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And I love it when we are able to cuddle to start out with this guy.
Okay, I'm listening.
And then you're
oh, what? This is the Ty and Cody on Purpose show, uncut, unfiltered, the reboot.
This question?
I don't know. God works in mysterious ways.
Oh, now God works in mysterious ways. Okay. And then I love it when you caress me. But at the same token, no, not like that.
Oh, okay.
I love it when I can caress you.
Me too. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm being silly today. I'm being silly
sorry.
today. I'm going to drink my drink and I'm going to let her talk. You love it when I caress you, when you caress me.
Mm-hmm. I even like the flirtatious, whether it's text or throughout the day, you will. Are you taking notes?
No, I'm about to send you a text.
Oh gosh. When you will, you know, I walk past you or you walk past me, and you'll hit me on somewhere on the body, but it's usually the bum. Or when you simply just give me, you know, compliments. And it doesn't have to be sexual compliments. It could just be, oh, wow, he noticed X, Y, and Z, and whatever that is. Whether it's something that I've done for you or something I've said or, you know.
Cool beans. So why are those things important in foreplay? Why is foreplay important, period? Because there are some people who just like to get down to the nitty gritty and just say, forget all that foreplay stuff. But we know women are emotional, and y'all are people who have to have, and not just women, because there are guys too, who have to have all this stuff to get y'all in the mood. And so why is foreplay?
Well, I know for me, if it's been a long day, there's some nights when it's just like, yeah, dude. Earlier, it was on the brain. Now, the only thing on the brain is sleep.
So why don't y'all say something if it was earlier, it was on the brain? So that way we can put down whatever it is we doing, and we can take care of whatever's on your brain at that specific point in time.
Because sometimes if it's earlier, and I don't know if I'm speaking for other people, but if there are kids in the house and it's earlier and the house is busy, yeah, that doesn't make any difference to you, does it? Right.
And it used to not make a difference to you.
When?
Man, let me tell you, if y'all have heard the previous Ty and Cody on Purpose show, where she would say, I would give him a wink.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So, but generally we realize that my libido is at its highest midday.
And my libido is highest
24
all
hours a
day. Do men have libidos? I don't know. But so please don't write it and say, Ty, you don't have a libido. I don't think we do.
Well, but I think
have
libido
a sexual,
is just your sex drive.
Yeah, we have sexual drives. Yeah.
Which I think is the same.
Okay, well, whatever.
I could be wrong, but I believe it's the same.
Well, man, okay, so yes, usually mine is all day, but it's at its peak like after 8 o'clock. That's just, I don't know why. It's at its peak after 8 o'clock.
Really?
There are times during the day it'll spike and I'll go, oh. But then you're like working or you're into something and it's like, oh, okay. Because, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so I mean, I think, going back to the original question about foreplay, I think foreplay is very important, not just for women, but it's for men as well. Because
really?
Because it gets, now I'll tell you why, I'm not going to speak for all men, but I'll speak for some. The reason why a lot of men do not like foreplay is, one, because we've already had foreplay in our minds. We've already then thought out, ooh, this, that, and the third, so on and so forth. And by the time we then got to it, we want to get down to the nitty gritty.
Gotcha.
That's reason number one. Reason number two is because, like she said, there are times where you can send a text or you can do stuff and this, that, and the third, or she'll send you texts or she'll send you this, that, and the third, send you little sexy pictures and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And then when it come time to do it or time to do what you got to do, she like, oh, I'm ready to go to sleep. And it's like, wait, you done got me all hyped up all day long. I done got in the mood. I done did what you wanted me to do. You done did what I wanted to do. Now it's time to get to it. And now you talking about I'm ready to go to sleep. So a lot of dudes be like, forget the foreplay. Let's just get down to it because you said you got to go to sleep.
So does that also include, okay, then sometimes you just have to make the sacrifice and just whatever shows you had planned to watch that night, you just say, I can watch them later.
That's why they got DVR, unless it's football, because you cannot DVR sports. And not just football, but sports. Ask any man or I can't say man, because there are a lot of women who like sports too. So sports games and stuff like that, you can't DVR. But yes, when it comes to TV shows, things like that, yeah, you can generally DVR those things and get back to them on a different day, at a different time, and a different night.
I'll ask that question later as it relates to sports, because I don't see a difference.
Yeah, of course, because you're not a big sports person. But ask the person who likes sports, and they'll tell you, no, I don't want to watch a DVR'd or pre-recorded sports X, Y, and Z. There's a difference. Trust me.
Gotcha.
Trust me, there is a difference. But yeah, so usually for guys, that's why usually guys don't really do foreplay. And there are some who do. I personally like foreplay. I mean, like you said, it's about mental stimulation before even getting to the physical stimulation. So whether, how you're being mentally stimulated, whether it be through text, whether it be through activities, whether it be through words, whether it be through, why are you smirking? Whether it be through any of those things, all of those things can be considered foreplay. A lot of women especially say, oh, it turns me on when I see my man washing the dishes or him vacuuming or putting away the clothes and this, that, and the third. Ooh, that turns me on. And, so that can be considered foreplay for some people. Now, I can tell you that's not foreplay to most men, but that can be considered foreplay for some people.
What if she's dressed up while she's cleaning?
Yeah, so long as I can interrupt while she's doing what she's doing. If she define dressed up, let's just say that. Before we go into that.
A sexy piece of lingerie.
Okay, so yeah, so long as I can interrupt, because you ain't gonna just clean and just be like, all right, I'm done, and then go about the rest of your day. Like, ooh, I did what I was supposed to do. I had on some sexy lingerie, but yeah, yeah.
So if I put on sexy lingerie and your favorite football game is on.
We've had this conversation before. We've had this conversation before. You can walk past me in some sexy lingerie with my favorite football team or whatever's on, and the game is going off. And you said before, I'm going to put that to the test, and you never have. I'll be waiting
because
games
waiting. Are usually middle of the day,
which is when you said you're at the highest.
True. However, we still have kids in the
However,
house.
first of all, we have teenagers who don't pay us any bit of attention, for starters.
But you just said that they've gotten better at being very observant.
Right, and they need to know that their parents love one another. Yes, they need to know that their parents love one another. How do you think they got into this world in the first place?
They know how.
Okay, exactly. So, and half the time they in their own world with their own TVs up loud or on the phone talking to their friends and this, that, and the third, playing video games or whatever the case may be. Yeah, that
mental thing for me. I don't know.
Now, again, this wasn't always like this with her. So I don't know. All of a sudden over the past couple of years,
we're away from the house, I tend to open up.
Well, let's go away. We can ride down the street for all I care. I mean, hey, again, just
this
being
guy.
This guy. I'm just being. I'm saying what everybody else is thinking.
Okay. Put me to the test. Y'all send me some challenges and some ideas of things that I can do. Challenge.
I did. Show's over. We gone. We gonna go ride down the street right quick. No, I mean that's this. Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because. And it's funny that you actually got that question because specifically for a woman, because women tend to, in my opinion, and I'm sure in the opinions of others, they tend to change as they get older. So what they used to do in their 20s or their early 30s, as they get into their later 30s and 40s, even though some women I've heard say when they get into their 40s, it like spikes. But others, it's like, I don't do those things anymore. Or I don't, find those things to be whatever anymore. And then they just kind of goes, wah, 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 wah.
I definitely don't want that to happen. I have an inkling that, once we empty nesters, I'll be able to just ride it out.
It's always just wait until we empty nesters.
I'm not saying
wait until the kids go to bed.
Completely.
Wait until we on vacation. Wait until I'm finished with work. Wait until. So I'm just saying, it's always wait until.
So you want to know?
You won't give these people a show. So in that, we go into the next segment because she already have. Yeah, we done. We see y'all. I told you. So we were just talking about this app. Find out more about this app right now.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome back. It is that time of the episode where we get into a great conversation with someone that we found phenomenal and we decided to bring to you all personally. I really don't know what to say because this should be a very interesting conversation because we've been following this gentleman and what he does for quite some time.
Yes.
And I'll say he thinks probably like me. And you'll see why I say that in just a few minutes. That's actually a good thing, in my opinion.
It is.
He thinks a little bit like me. So without no further ado, let's get into it with a conversation with Mr. Dan Purcell with Get Your Marriage On.
Woohoo!
Yes. What's going on? Hey, welcome, Dan. How are you?
Great. Thanks.
Thank you for being a part of our show today, the Ty and Cody on Purpose show. As I've just mentioned a minute ago, we actually have been following you for quite some time on Instagram, and I think you have been following us as well. As you said, you've taken a look at some of our old episodes, and we were actually in the radio station doing those podcasts and so forth, and now we've merged and migrated here to Relationship Entertainment Television. So we're giving people more of the visuals. Any other time, people would just hear your voice, but now they actually get to see your face.
Yes,
so we're excited about that. But tell us, the Vogue. Tell us more about Get Your Marriage On, Dan.
All right. Well, you got to start with all the way back in middle school, because that's when I met my wife. We lived in the same area of town, so we'd be on the same bus route. So we'd ride the same school bus to school every day. And but I was really shy, and she was really cute and popular. So not much happened there, except maybe in high school, we kind of were in the same circle of friends. We did a lot of, hanging out with friends, and we went on a few of the high school dance dates together too, but never dated seriously until 4 years later. One summer, we went to separate universities, and we both came home for the summer because our internships didn't work out, and other exciting summer things all fell through. So you come home to live with your parents for the summer, right? And we saw each other at church that very first Sunday. Okay. And it was so relieving to have a friend, because I was coming home thinking, I don't know anyone. All my other friends are off doing exciting things. And she was thinking the same thing. Yeah. So here she is, and she's really cute. And, but in the beginning, it was like no expectations at all. Let's just like, hey, let's just hang out. It's just that we hung out every day that summer, the whole summer.
Wow.
And then sparks flew, romance and all that. And we were married the day after Thanksgiving that year.
Oh, wow. Dope.
That same year?
Yeah. Well, we've known each other for a while. And, you know, we went for a short engagement. That, I think, was better for us. So
yeah, I guess we did too. Now that I think about it.
Technically, well, we dated for quite some time as well, but yeah, the engagement was short for us too.
Yeah. Then fast forward a bit, we've had a fairly good marriage. Like most couples, I guess you would say, you have your ups and downs. You have, you have life. You've got job loss. You've got trying to start a business, and then all the stresses that come from that. Trying to finish school and degrees, and then children, and the joys and challenges of parenting, and everything all wrapped up to that. And fast forward over 13 years, I was having a conversation with someone, and this is really kind of the first person I've met that really opened up about his sex life with me. Because up until then, I'm like not interested in talking to people about their sex life or whatever, or if so, always like, it just didn't feel appropriate. But this guy was sincere. And his story was his wife came to him and said, essentially, you're not a good enough lover. I need you to step up your game in the bedroom. Oh, and he, took he was kind of defensive at first about that, but really started to dive in and, started trying new things in the bedroom. And all of a sudden, their marriage starts getting a lot better in and out of the bedroom. And he was telling me about it. And it really made me self-conscious for a few things. First is I was uncomfortable about being uncomfortable. Like, why am I so uncomfortable about something that I kind of like? But it's important.
Yeah.
And the second thing is it made me really like self-conscious. Am I a good enough lover? Am I really gonna what does my wife think? Am I satisfying her or not? And it also helped, like, for the first time, I guess it was just right time, right moment, because it like opened my mind to really realize, because my wife and I both come from really good families, but a conservative background, like a lot of Christian pockets in the country, you would say. So the picture of what sex looks like, or that model of kind of what we've had going into our marriage and the way we lived, was more like, it's lights off, 10 minutes, missionary position, and you're done. And then now I'm realizing, no, sex can be so much more. There's so much more depth and beauty to this. And it kind of rocked my world at first, like that. And that's okay. And then, it is okay. And so that's when Get Your Marriage On really started, is when my wife and I decided, you know what, we need to learn more about sex for ourselves. So that's when we discovered there's podcasts out there with good, by podcasters with good values, and there's really helpful books. There's blogs out there. And so we just started digging in. In fact, we really nerded out. We totally nerded out about everything. And then all of a sudden our own marriage really started taking off. All of a sudden, we're really connected. And our friendship just really deepened all of a sudden. We felt Twitter-pated, all those giddy feelings you had. We're really on a relationship. They came back in full steam. And holy cow, this is really good. Because it doesn't just improve your marriage, but when your marriage is good, it helps with your work. It helps with your parenting. It helps with your health. You sleep better. And everything else in life just seems to go better when your marriage is good. And your marriage also goes better when your sex life is good. It's all interconnected.
It is.
We need to do something about this. So my background's in software development. That's pretty much all I know how to do. If I was great at public speaking, I'd probably, be a public speaker. If I could write, I'd probably write a book. I can't do any of those. So I thought, well, I'll write an app. So that's kind of the genesis of Get Your Marriage On from that. And since then, we've started a podcast. We've done a few live events as well. And that's what Get Your Marriage On is all about.
So what's the name of the app?
Intimately Us.
Intimately Us.
Which
now we have downloaded.
Love.
Yes, we have downloaded and love. But what I even love more, though, honestly, what you just mentioned, Dan, is that you and your wife, or not even just before you and your wife, you and your friend, which was kind of odd. You still kind of made you feel weird. But y'all were able to have that true, in-depth, open conversation about sex. Like you said, a lot of us who are Christian, it's such a taboo conversation. It's like, oh my gosh, we don't talk about sex. All we know is God said, be fruitful and multiply. Well, what does that mean to be fruitful and multiply? In order for you to be fruitful and multiply, you have to have sex.
Yeah.
And so most people think, like you said, it's just, lights out 10 minutes for most. Missionary style, when there's so much other things when it comes to sex that's like mind-blowing. And so and it's intimacy, the whole intimacy thing, into me, right. Into you, into me,
and,
go ahead.
And there is a whole book of the Bible that is specifically speaks on sex, in my opinion, the Songs of Solomon.
Yes.
He's very explicit about, the love of his life and what he desires to do with and for her. So yeah, there's freedom in it. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It's just super dope. Like I said, that you all were able to have that open and honest conversation, because I'll even say, since we've downloaded your app, to be completely honest with you, we've had that conversation, we've laid in bed and I said, well, am I satisfying? I want to know. And she has this thing, Dan, where don't ask a question unless you're prepared for the answer. And right. So I had to mentally prepare myself. Like, all right, you're getting ready to ask this question. Are you ready for the answer that she's going to tell you? Am I truly satisfying in the way that you need me to be when it comes to intimacy and sexuality? Yeah.
And I haven't gone anywhere.
So that's pretty dope that that's the conversation that sparked the whole Get Your Marriage On. So you said that you all have a podcast. So is your podcast basically centered around intimacy, sex? What is your podcast centered around?
That's right. Intimacy and sex. And one thing about our culture in America, I think, is we use the word intimacy as a euphemism for sex.
Yeah.
And on my podcast, I stress intimacy in the true sense of the word intimacy. Like you said, into me see, or into you see. It's really being seen and being knowable, knowing and being knowable. Intimacy is interesting because it takes a certain amount of courage to really be intimate with someone. It's almost like tolerating the exposure of being seen for who you are. So people who can't tolerate intimacy, I know that sounds weird to say, like they can't tolerate the idea of someone really liking them for who they are. But those that get over that can really have a really deep relationship with someone. That's the beauty of intimacy.
It is.
And to that point, Dan, it also would lead me to believe that if it's a struggle for certain people to be intimate, it may also be a struggle for them to be vulnerable at the same time.
Absolutely.
The two go hand in hand, in my opinion. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, good deal.
Yeah. So I noticed that your tagline is strengthening marriage through intimacy. So do you all just do like podcasting and so forth, or are you all like marriage coaches, marriage therapists, or any that or intimacy or sex therapists for that matter? Because there are those out there.
I am not a coach or a sex therapist myself, but I work with many that are, and so they're kind of like the people I go to with all my questions and help me. Because I'm always asking for a friend, like, I have a friend, or this is for the app, and they always help me with things there. So that's where I turn to.
That's funny. So tell us about the Intimately Us app. We've downloaded it. We love it. It's the Intimately Us app. Tell us about it.
One of the things that really helped my wife and I really get it on in the bedroom is through games. Like we discovered this whole world of bedroom games, which first of all, when you approach lovemaking in a very playful, almost like a childlike manner, it really opens up a lot of doors. Or you should have the door closed, but it opens up a lot of possibilities. Like you can,
especially if you got kids.
Yeah, especially if you have kids. I have 6 children, so that.
Wow.
So you've been doing a lot of research for this app.
Yeah, lots of research, lots of trial and error. Your mind's in like this playful state. And so you're willing to try and experiment new things. And it's okay if you mess up because, hey, it's just a game. Yeah. And so there's lots of fun games we've done. But the thing about having the game in an electronic format on an app is you can, if you're a lights off person, you can have the lights off. If you want lights on, that's not a big deal. If it's kind of small and portable, so you can take it with you wherever you go. And so Intimately Us at its core is a suite of bedroom games. And so some of the games are like you put in your names and then you kind of customize like what you like or don't like. And then it starts pretty mild and you take turns. And as the game progresses, it gives you prompts for little things. It gets a little bit spicier as it progresses. And I got an email the other day from someone that said she and her husband couldn't finish the game, meaning they didn't.
One thing led to another.
Yeah, one thing led to another. So they had to resume the next morning. Shucks darn it. Like it was really fun to hear that. So games kind of puts you in this really fun and can help you be in that kind of aroused state of mind. Another thing about Intimately Us that I've learned is I think marriages are strengthened more through small little acts of daily service every day, rather than one huge monumental big thing spread out. So the app encourages you to really have we call them daily intimacy challenges. And we kind of follow the 5 love languages, but it's kind of beyond that too. And you can really customize it to your level of comfort because there's some really spicy challenges in there, but there's also some real simple and basic challenges in there as well. But it's that prompt and that reminder to do something every day to strengthen your marriage, even if it be really small. Like leaving a little note in your spouse's shoes. So when she puts on her shoes, she's going to see this little note that says, I love you or whatever.
That's cute.
Or it might be like, hey, I'm going to take care of the kids tonight and give you a night off because you deserve that. I haven't done that in a while. Little things like that, I think, go a really long way to strengthen that marriage.
They do. And I agree.
The thing about Intimately Us that's popular is it has these quizzes where you can like answer all these questions and then your spouse answers the same ones. And then it'll compare where you kind of line up. And those are across a big suite of things, but especially about sexual things like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that sexually? What are your preferences here and there? And it kind of gives you a chance to really think about what your own preferences are and how you feel about certain things. And your spouse also. So it becomes a great starting point for a deeper conversation later about your sex life around certain things.
Well, awesome. Today's challenge, because I just pulled it up, is actually to pick up or make Tyron's favorite drink. So I'm going to have to give that some thought because
she's not a cook or a drink maker. So to pray for my stomach, Dan. No, I'm joking. No, but honestly,
that is truly a challenge for me. So I'm going to do that today.
So I really love your app for a variety of reasons because I find it to be all encompassing. As you just mentioned, it's like you said, it's sort of kind of game-ish format, but there's things that I've used in other apps that seems to be all in your one app. Like for instance, there's an intimacy tracker. So you can basically track when was the last time you were intimate, how you were intimate, and what notes you can actually put in there as well. That, you know, I really love that part. Because it's like, when was the last time we had sex? Let's go back and look. We haven't had sex in about 3 weeks. Exactly. Let's look at the calendar.
The data never lies.
Right.
Or as you mentioned, there's also on there about your fantasies. So you actually put in like, you know, what type of fantasies that you have and whatnot. And it's a conversational starter because what we definitely believe in is we're big on communication. And so anybody even that we've coached before prior to getting married, we always say, have, conversation about anything and everything, including your sexual life and all of those things. So that way, once you get into your marriage, there's no major surprises that you pretty much already haven't discussed for the most part. And so this app, in my opinion, starts a lot of those conversations to say, okay, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Have you ever thought about this? Maybe we should try that. Those are the type of things that I really get out of your app.
Awesome.
Yeah. So definitely, I would encourage anybody to download the Intimately Us app. It's on Google, the Android, and as well as the iPhone. I never get the Apple Store because we have Android. Sorry. Most people have iPhones, but we have Androids.
I'm Android also.
Cool.
But one other thing that I noticed that's on your app is that you also do have challenges. And one of the last challenges that you had was the 14 days of sextimacy. Can you tell us more about that one?
Yeah. So around Valentine's Day, I thought couples might be kind of more inclined to focusing on the relationship a little bit more. And I wanted to do something to really drive the point home to make this Valentine's Day the most sexiest, the most special Valentine's Day you can. Put some heart into it. That's what I wanted people to do. Really put some oomph into the relationship. So I have a small team. We kind of got together and thought about, well, what if we did we kind of had the daily challenges already in the app, but let's make them kind of special, kind of more Valentine's-esque. And then we had a romantic track and we had a spicy track. So couples can kind of pick what track they're most comfortable doing. And then we reached out to a few friends and partners, and we got prizes donated, like lingerie, an online, sex toy store.
Cool.
I can say that on the program, right?
Yes.
Things like that, right? And books and e-courses, all these really helpful things that we bundled these into some prize baskets. And then we set up the challenges where you could earn points for completing certain things. Like I did the challenge and you get points, or, we played the bedroom game and we got points. So and then we made it kind of fun by creating a little leaderboard so you can see where you are ranking, and you earn points as a couple. So you work together as a couple to earn points against other couples. So it was kind of a fun thing we did. And I got to tell you, the feedback was amazing. We're getting people posting and emailing in saying things like, this has really brought us closer together, or this really stretched me out of my comfort zone, but I did it anyway. And I got to tell you, I'm so glad I did. It really helped. Or another one's it was so fun to see my husband, who never does stuff like this, going around the house. He set up a scavenger hunt for me, and just things like that. Nice. I don't know. It's heartwarming because, real change.
And especially during this climate, with COVID, we've got to get very creative on how we can, still keep it spicy without losing our minds, because we are so enclosed in a closed space for such a long period of time. But at the same time are, in this world of rediscovery of each other. Mm-hmm. So kudos to you, your wife, and your team. Yeah. We
love it. And love the date night ideas in the app and everything. Yes. So there's a lot of stuff that's in the app that we personally love and that we've tried and we will continue to try and continue to use in the app. Real talk. Yes. But before we let you go, speaking of games there, Mr. Dan, we have a game that we want to play. Yeah. So I'll let Cody tell you a little bit more about the game that we're going to introduce you to and see how it goes.
These are just a few we like to call dirty would you rather questions that give you some fun ideas on how to spice things up in the bedroom. Okay.
All right.
So would you rather make love on the beach or the pool?
Definitely the beach.
Definitely the beach. Gets kind of sandy there though, but
I agree. It's something about the beach.
It's the water. The water. Is it, Dan? It's the water.
It's water. Oh, like in the shade of a coconut tree. And
Ah,
with the warm sand, it can like really mold to your body.
gotcha. You'll still be picking sand out of everywhere, probably for the next 10, 20 days. What's the next one, babe?
Would you rather make love in your backyard or in a car?
My backyard or like a hypothetical backyard?
What's wrong with your backyard?
I need a little more privacy. But a car, you can go somewhere.
For you.
We can go somewhere far away, you know, like
There you go.
yeah, somewhere secluded in the car.
Gotcha. Okay.
Would you rather make love in the morning or at night?
Both. I mean, wow, that's hard.
There's nothing wrong with that answer.
Would you rather have a quickie or have it last an hour?
Last an hour every time.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, last one.
And this is a difficult one for everyone who's answered this, but here we go. Would you rather have your parents walk in on you or your children walk in on you?
Oh, that's a tough one. So we've been really lucky. We have not had a child walking on us yet. You know, fingers crossed, knock on wood. We've been really lucky. We've come close, you know, sometimes. Like we had just finished and we were like started, you know, getting dressed when the door opened and we forgot to lock it. Like that's happened a few times. Yeah. But I gotta say, I would much rather have a child walk in than my parents because, and I'm serious about this one because I want my children to grow up knowing that their parents actually have sex and enjoy it. I think it's so important that they realize that it's a good and beautiful thing and that their parents actually find some beauty and some love in that. So of course we're not like, you know, there's definitely appropriate boundaries to set. But I want them to know that, so that when they're married, they have a very positive opinion about sex.
I love that response.
Any quick tips you want to leave with our audience before we go?
Wow. Let's see. I think I benefit a lot by building the app and interacting with people all the time. And one thing I'd say is there's a difference between intensity and intimacy. Intensity is like going after the new thing and the novel thing all the time. For instance, if you're a skydiver and you're used to jumping at, 5,000 feet, after a while, you'll get accustomed to that, right? So you're going to see, you're an adrenaline junkie. You need more. So you're going to jump from either higher up or lower, depending on what, right? What gives you more adrenaline. But if you treat your sex life that way too, you're always going to be like seeking this, like, well, what's the next thing, or what's the next product I need to buy, or what's the next position, and then you start. If you only chase intensity, it's not healthy for the marriage alone.
Right.
And then there's intimacy, which is like another dimension on like the graph, where some people chase intensity because they can't tolerate the intimacy. They don't want to like really expose like who they are or their deep feelings. So they mask it by looking for kind of more the novelty to kind of make the sex exciting. But you don't need only the novelty to make sex exciting. It can be just like the intimacy of the relationship. So there's something special about in the middle of the act of making love and you're holding your spouse close and then realizing this is the person that I live with, I cook with, I budget with, I raise kids with, I fight with sometimes. And here we are in the middle of this precious moment, and look how beautiful they are. Like that, that intimacy is going to add so much more to the intensity. It'll supply some intensity of its own. That being said, intensity is necessary if you want to be married long-term and have a great sex life. You do need some novelty. So, and the novelty doesn't have to be like chasing a new position or a new toy or something all the time. It can just become from personal development. Like you've probably had this too, where you saw your spouse in a new light, like giving a presentation at work or learning a musical instrument or trying something new. And so you see them in a new situation and they're like new to you all over again.
Yeah.
Have those experiences frequently in your marriage and you'll always have really hot, very intense and loving lovemaking.
Dope. So I know I mentioned that people can find your stuff on the Google Play Store and the Android, in the iTunes, Apple Store. But tell us where people can find more about, Get Your Marriage On and the Intimately Us app and anything else that you do.
The best place is getyourmarriageon.com. And I'm also on Instagram at getyourmarriageon.
All right. GetYourMarriageOn.com and on Instagram at GetYourMarriageOn. Be sure to check out Dan and the Intimately Us app at both of those places. Be sure to download it. Dan, we appreciate you for joining us today and giving us a talk on one of my favorite subjects, sex. Yep. I told y'all he's like me. He likes sex.
He is. He likes sex and games.
Sex and games. Except he has me beat. He has 6 kids and we have four or five? 4. Yeah, see, 4.
We're done.
We're done. Yeah, we're done, Dan. I can't get any more. She wants more. I don't. So there's that. But we appreciate you, Dan, for joining us today. We appreciate you all for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to tune in next week right here on Relationship Entertainment Television for the Ty and Cody on Purpose show. And I realize we haven't said this in a while. Live purposefully
and love purposefully.
Ty and Cody on Purpose. Peace.
Peace.